It is with enormous gratitude and humility that Daniela and I, my darling wife, have a place at your table. And I hope in the time allotted to me that I might be able to convey, in some modest measure, the real depth of my gratitude by perhaps sharing with you some glimpses of my steps on your behalf. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. What a strange irony it was for me to find myself in the role of Adolf Eichmann, uttering those words for the first time in my life. How on earth had I arrived at those crossroads that perplexed me, taxed me, and provoked me? As you all know, Eichmann was apprehended and brought to justice through the devotion and tenacity of one great man, Simon Wiesenthal. I had the honor of portraying Simon, and I met him first where the mosquitoes live. Let me explain. Simon was often asked, why on earth do you base yourself and live in Vienna? And Simon always answered, if you want to find a cure for malaria, you live where the mosquitoes live. So I met him where the mosquitoes live. He told me many tales. It was a very, very moving meeting, as you can imagine. And one great thought he shared with me. He said, it is my wish, when I reach the afterlife and meet all those loved ones that have perished, that I can look them in the eye and say to them, I did not forget you. And as he spoke these words, I saw for the first time what became for me a gesture embedded in my DNA, if not certainly my memory. It was this. He dragged his hand across his forehead and across his eyes in a gesture of such grief and such strength. I saw that gesture repeated. On one occasion, smiling through his tears, when we reenacted his liberation from Mauthausen concentration camp. Simon would often embrace me, put his arms around me, a strong man, and say to those with him that I was like a son to him. Well, I can tell you, Simon, you were a dad to me. Empowered, emboldened by Simon's embrace, when I met the great Steven Spielberg to discuss playing Isaac Stern in Schindler's List, I asked Steven, could you please perhaps condense into one word, what is my Isaac Stern's narrative function in this film? What is my dramatic task? And we simultaneously came to almost the same word. Conscience, witness. So as Isaac Stern, the witness, I as an actor needed to compress, to condense my inspiration. So I had in my pocket, as I was filming, a photograph of Anne Frank, and I would say to this beautiful photograph, dear girl, I'm doing this for you. Every day on the set I would say that. A few years later, I found myself offered the role of Otto Frank, the dad of that dear girl. I went to Amsterdam, I saw the attic, I met Miep Gies, who heroically, bravely, selflessly defended the Franks in their attic. I met Jackie van Marzen, Anne Frank's greatest school friend. And I was to meet another friend. One day in my trailer, adjusting Otto's hat, adjusting his tie, checking his polished shoes, putting on his gabardine, there was a knock on my trailer door. There's a gentleman outside, a friend of Otto Frank's, and he would like to meet you. Here is a test, I thought. Here is a test. And as I left my trailer, Otto's friend was waiting for me. And he held his arms out wider and wider and wider and embraced me with these words. He said, "There is my friend. There is my friend." So my heroes, Otto, Isaac, and Simon, all of whom wore the yellow star, all of whom now mark my humble path as an actor with a white stone. During these years, I had the honor of meeting Elie Wiesel in Berlin, in New York, in Los Angeles, and when I was last in his great company, on our last encounter, I had the temerity to ask Elie if he would be kind enough to perhaps sign a poem of his that I have brought along with me. Elie, in his extraordinary generosity, did more than sign the poem. In his dedication to me, he actually referred to me as a lover of truth and memory, and how humbling it is for me tonight to hear that you, dear friends, have almost exactly echoed Elie's words. So in turn, on that occasion, I said to Elie, "Sir, if ever I have the opportunity to walk onto a film set that is relevant and pertinent to your story, I will simply say to myself, Elie, I am doing this for you." Shortly after Elie's passing, I was asked to portray the man who signed Elie's death warrant, along with the death warrant of countless others. The architect of the Holocaust, Adolf Eichmann, standing at the crossroads in shock. I thought to myself, what am I going to do? Then immediately I recalled, I have a promise to keep. So my every word, gesture, breath, in my work on that film, Operation Finale, was dedicated to Elie. I had his photograph in my pocket. And I would say quite simply, Elie, I'm doing this for you. And I would read his poem and learn from it. This is the poem that Elie signed. Let us tell tales. All the rest can wait. Must wait. Let us tell tales. That is our primary obligation. Commentaries will have to come later, lest they replace or becloud what they mean to reveal. Let us tell tales so as to remember how vulnerable man is when faced with overwhelming evil. Let us tell tales so as not to allow the executioner to have the last word. The last word belongs to the victim. It is up to the witness to capture it, shape it, and transmit it. Elie Wiesel. My dear friends, I could assure you that if another white stone presents itself, if I'm ever given another opportunity to tell your story, I can say wholeheartedly, I'm doing this for you. Thank you.